Few know the enigmatic figure of Marie Julie Jahenny, a Catholic mystic whose prophecies defy comprehension. Her name remains shrouded in mystery, and not by chance. During her lifetime, Marie Julie made impressive predictions, many of which proved to be incredibly accurate. However, the content of her visions was somehow silenced, leaving her messages hidden from the general public. Among the various revelations attributed to her, some talk about future events linked to the 2024 Olympics in Paris, and what they suggest is nothing short of disturbing. The year 2025 is shaping up to be one of the most challenging periods in our history. Conflicts are intensifying, natural disasters are multiplying, and signs of transformation are everywhere. Many believe that the prophecies are being fulfilled before our eyes, bringing a clear message: we cannot ignore what is to come. It is against this backdrop that the need arises for spiritual preparation and understanding of the times we face. Are you ready to understand and protect yourself from what is about to happen? Subscribe to our channel now and follow unique content, transformative messages and revelations that can make all the difference to your life. Marie Julie Jahenny was born in 1850 in the village of Coyote in France. Her life was anything but ordinary. From a young age, she experienced unique spiritual phenomena, and at the age of 23, she became the bearer of the stigmatia, marks that symbolize the suffering of Christ. Dedicating herself as a victim soul, Marie Julie willingly accepted physical and spiritual pain as a sacrifice for the sins of humanity. But what made her truly unique were the visions she began to receive, messages directly attributed to Jesus Christ and the Virgin Mary. These revelations were not mere spiritual musings. They described future events in disturbing detail. Among them were prophecies about the end times, the rise of a false leader, and the destruction of Paris in the midst of conflict. His visions went further, predicting global suffering resulting from humanity's spiritual estrangement. Marie Julie not only warned of the destruction of cities like Paris, but also described punishments that would affect the whole world. She spoke of times of extreme famine and persecution, accompanied by evil forces that would haunt the survivors. This dark vision of a chaotic future seemed like a direct warning to the sins accumulated over generations. This is just the introduction to Marie Julie Jahenny's impressive trajectory. We'll soon go into the details of her most shocking messages. Marie Julie Jahenny is remembered for her unusual resilience. For years, she survived without consuming food, except on special occasions such as Christmas. This phenomenon, incomprehensible to human eyes, makes many consider her life a saint. However, it is important to note that the Catholic Church has never officially recognized her as a saint. Over time, her prophecies began to come true in a disturbing way, gaining notoriety for their accuracy. Among her predictions were the two world wars, events that occurred exactly as she described. In addition, she prophesied that in the future, many mothers would become indifferent to their own children, a clear reference to abortion. Today, we know that abortion is widely practiced in many parts of the world, a topic that continues to generate debates about morality, rights, and faith. Marie Julie warned that, in the past, practices such as abortion were considered serious transgressions. Although today many see it as an individual choice or right, her views emphasized that it was a sacred violation because it involved the interruption of a life, something she described as a form of deep sin. Not only moral issues were the subject of her visions, she also foresaw the emergence of a devastating disease that would spread globally, causing mass suffering and loss. When we look at the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, her words seem to resonate like an echo of a long-forgotten warning. Marie Julie didn't stop there. Her predictions included the spread of Islam throughout Europe and the imposition of Sharia law in regions previously dominated by Christianity. These messages sparked intense debate and led many to reflect on the spiritual future of the continent. Interestingly, many of his revelations are centered in France. This may not be a coincidence, as Catholicism has historically been the country's main religion. However, today's France faces major challenges in its faith and culture, a concern that Marie Julie seems to have anticipated. Her accounts also indicate a defining moment involving Paris, specifically during the 2024 Olympic Games. But what exactly happened there? We'll explore this in more depth in the following parts. Recently, disturbing events have caught the attention of many, such as the controversy surrounding a performance of The Last Dinner, marked by actions considered disrespectful. Situations like this make us reflect, where is humanity heading? And what might be the consequences of these choices in the future? Marie Julie Jahenny predicted that France would be the first nation to face severe punishment for departing from its spiritual principles. When we look at what happened at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris, these warnings seem closer than we think. Our Lady's message to Marie Julie was both alarming and deeply serious. She described a gloomy scenario for the future of the earth, saying that the whole world would be transformed into a vast cemetery, bodies of the righteous and sinners would be scattered across the ground, and humanity would face a colossal loss. According to Marie's visions, 3/4 of the world's population would be wiped out, with France losing half of its inhabitants. From the beginning of her life, Marie Julie was deeply attached to spirituality. Her mother consecrated her to the Virgin Mary just one day after her birth, on a remarkable Sunday linked to the religious celebrations of Lent. In search of better opportunities, her family moved to another part of France when she was only 3 or 4 years old, and from then on she showed great devotion to faith and prayer. On January 6, 1873, during a special mass, something unexpected happened. Marie Julie was extremely weak that day and decided to see a doctor. The diagnosis was devastating: stomach cancer, with no hope of a cure. This episode was just one of many moments that marked Marie Julie Jahenny's extraordinary career. Her experiences and messages continue to resonate as a warning to humanity. Faced with a devastating diagnosis and the loss of hope for her family, Marie Julie made a surprising statement that would change everything. With firmness and serenity, she claimed to have received a visit from the Virgin Mary, who assured her that her life would not end there, and that a cure was near. "Don't cry, I won't die. I saw the Holy Virgin, who promised my cure," she declared with conviction. On May 2, 1873, at 3 p.m., Marie Julie reported an extraordinary vision. The Virgin Mary appeared before her, seated on a large white cross, dressed in a radiant white mantle. During this apparition, Mary asked her if she was willing to accept Christ's wounds on her body as a sacrifice for the conversion of sinners. Without hesitation, Marie Julie agreed, pledging to carry this burden for the rest of her life. From March 21, 1873, the promises made in the vision began to be fulfilled. In the presence of several witnesses, Jesus appeared to her, showing the wounds of the crucifixion, from which rays of light emanated. These beams of light touched Marie Julie's hands, feet and back, marking her with the signs of the Passion. Over time, other divine signs appeared on her body. On October 7th of that same year, she received the crown of thorns, and on November 25th, a new mark appeared on her neck, symbolizing the wounds of the crucifixion. These stigmata became a permanent feature of her life, a visible testimony to her total surrender to God. Like other mystics throughout history, Marie Julie demonstrated an extraordinary ability to survive without ordinary food. It is said that for years, she lived by feeding solely on the Eucharist, reaffirming her deep spiritual bond with Jesus Christ and his sacrifice. Marie Julie Jahenny's story is an extraordinary account of faith, sacrifice, and devotion, which continues to inspire and intrigue those who come across her legacy. Marie Julie Jahenny underwent supernatural experiences that defied the limits of human understanding. Initially, she undertook a 94-day fast, something extraordinary in itself. However, she baffled many around her by declaring that she planned to fast again, this time for a staggering 5 years, 1 month and 22 days. Her precision in calculating such periods of sacrifice drew even more attention to her spiritual commitment. After receiving the stigmata, Marie Julie stopped eating like an ordinary person. This intriguing phenomenon was accompanied by miraculous events, including inexplicable healings and extraordinary signs that strengthened the faith of many. She also began to witness visions about the fate of the Church in France, which would be marked by times of great trial. In June 1880, her life took a new turn. Marie Julie lost her ability to speak and hear, a state that lasted for 4 years. During this period, she also became blind and unable to use her legs. Despite these physical limitations, she maintained an amazing connection with the spiritual. Even without sight, she continued to experience divine apparitions. Miraculously, every Sunday, she somehow managed to reach the cross, a feat that defied her physical condition. For many, these events were living proof of her divine mission. But what was the purpose of her journey? According to her accounts, her mission was clear: to save souls from the devil's clutches. Dedicated to this task, she faced countless spiritual attacks, resisting with unwavering faith. In July 1937, Marie Julie received a special visit from Cardinal Pacelli, who would later become Pope Pius XII. Although she was supported by princes of the church, she also faced opposition from many local clerics, who questioned her authenticity. Among her many predictions, one stands out as particularly striking: the prophecy of the 3 days of darkness. According to Marie Julie, the sky would be filled with dense darkness, while a cataclysmic storm would sweep the world for 3 days and nights. During this period, the sun would not shine and no ordinary light would be able to illuminate the room. Only blessed lamps would be able to provide illumination, symbolizing divine protection in times of calamity. This prophecy continues to be one of the most debated, raising questions about faith, repentance, and the spiritual challenges that humanity may face. During the 3 days of darkness, according to Marie Julie Jahenny, chaos and destruction will take over the world. Evil spirits will walk the earth, and those with weak faith will be especially vulnerable to these attacks. The danger will be real, and only the spiritually prepared will be able to survive this ordeal. Marie Julie has provided clear guidelines on how to face this terrifying event. The first recommendation is to stay indoors, with all doors and windows closed. Looking outside would be a fatal mistake, as it would allow evil spirits to reach those who are unprepared. She emphasized the importance of staying in constant prayer and close to blessed lamps, which will be the only source of light during this dark period. Anyone who dares to leave home will face serious illness and a terrible fate. Without solid faith, escaping the influence of these spirits will be impossible. Although these days are ones of deep darkness and suffering, Marie Julie revealed that a new world would emerge after the storm was over. A world of peace, harmony, and freedom from evil would await those who resist with faith. She stressed that divine protection will be essential to get through these times, and maintaining a spiritual connection will be the key to survival. Marie Julie also warned of the specific challenges that will mark the year 2025. For her, this would be a period of great trial, something that, when we look at the current state of the world, doesn't seem so far from reality. Human suffering is evident in places like Ukraine and Gaza, where devastating conflicts continue to cause pain and destruction. Marie Julie's message is clear: we must remain vigilant, maintain unshakable faith, and prepare for the challenges that lie ahead. Her predictions are not mere warnings, but an invitation to reflection and action, so that we can face tribulations with courage and hope. To face times of trial, Marie Julie Jahenny left us a clear message: putting our trust in God is essential to resisting the negative forces spreading throughout the world. Her life was a testimony of unwavering faith, and her prophecies are a powerful reminder to remain faithful and follow the path of truth. Marie Julie passed away peacefully on March 4, 1941, ending a life marked by miracles, sacrifices, and divine messages. However, her legacy lives on, inspiring those who seek to understand and prepare for the spiritual challenges she foresaw. Marie Julie's mission is clear: to stand firm in faith and walk the path of justice. Her prophecies are not just warnings, but also a call to spiritual action. She reminds us that, in the face of adversity, prayer and closeness to God are our greatest protections. Marie Julie was not the only one to foresee these catastrophic events. Her visions, in line with those of other mystics, warn us of the importance of turning to the Lord to avoid destruction. Although her accounts of the end of the world can be frightening, they also offer hope for those who choose the path of faith. If you've made it this far, it means you've been open to reflecting on Marie Julie Jahenny's messages. To thank you for your dedication, We invite you to access our special content, where we share exclusive videos that cannot be shown publicly. Now is the time to act. Stay close to the Lord, strengthen your faith, and remember that prophecies are not inevitable, but invitations to spiritual transformation. May your journey be guided by light and divine protection.